And we'll go ahead and reinstall our trigger. I usually try to do that first. A lot of people forget, to remove that slider. And when you forget that, it'll actually cause the gun to auto fire. So then from there, I'll go ahead and install our sear. I won't put the spring in right away because this is a really soft spring. It can actually pop out when you're going to put all the rest of the parts in. So we'll kind of do that last. So you have your rear bolt. Go ahead and put your O-ring on there. Then from there you can put your spring cup back in. You can go ahead and put your cocking handle back in. Your drive spring, guide pin, and your buffer O-ring. Your ACT spring, pin, and short spring. And we'll go ahead and get that whole assembly back together. Now that you got all that in place, we'll go ahead and install our circuit board, our magnet, our armature pin. I usually just like to straighten out the wires a little bit before I install it. You have these two posts, and there's two holes that are on the micro switch. You're just going to put that micro switch on those two posts, and then just kind of drop your board into place. It's going to be kind of hard to see the solenoid wires because they are black, and the receiver is also black, but I like to channel them off to the side here, along with the capacitor wires. Just kind of channel those off to the side, and your battery is just going to lay flat on top of those. Then from there you have your magnet, which goes underneath your solenoid, and as you can see, it pulled that solenoid right down where it needed to be. And then you have your armature pin. Now there will be a little gap, in between the armature pin and the sear. That's perfectly normal. And then we'll go ahead and put our sear spring in. Like I said, this is a real soft spring, so you want to be careful when putting that in there because it can pop out. Then from there we have our receiver half that we already knocked the battery door out. We'll go ahead and put our trigger guard back on, put our safety back in. And actually what you can do is put the trigger guard on this half. It makes it a little bit easier. And then from there what you're going to do is you're just going to take your battery cable and just kind of feed that through the window, get your receiver lined up, and then just drop your receiver back down. Then from there you can put all your receiver bolts back on. And just go ahead and snug those down. Then from there you would connect your battery. In this case I'm using a Duracell. So we'll go ahead and connect that. And I always recommend that you use the best batteries that you can afford. Duracell, Energizer. That's typically what we recommend, and they work the best. So go ahead, you got your battery installed, it drops in there nice and clean. You can go ahead and put your grip panel back on. But before I actually do that, I want to point out one thing. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but you can see these little channels in the grip. That's actually a cutout so you can access your button and your LED light. So you can cut those out just using an X-Acto knife or razor blade. But I'm not going to do that in this video. We're just going to go ahead and put this grip back down. And then from there, you could still access the button through the little gap in between the grips. And you can kind of see how it's going from orange to red to green. And then from there you can check your work. You can hear that it's clicking. It's releasing the bolt every single time, clicking correctly, and everything sounds good. So now that you have that installed, you can go ahead and put your barrel back on. And that's how you install the E-Trigger electronic upgrade kit on your 98 Custom Platinum.